that we are. Give me 1 second. I want to double check. All right. Well, it says that we're live, but I don't see that we're live.
I'm getting a notice from Facebook that says we are.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know about LinkedIn.
Yeah, I'm looking at that right now, which is, let's see, just to make sure. Yeah.
Someone said you are.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Thank you so much. Oh my God. So thank you for that. Whoever that was. I didn't even know. I appreciate that. So hi, everyone. My name is Denny, Subconscious Healer. Hey, Paul. Oh, hi, Paul. Paul's one of my my clients. Someone I work with.
Hey, Paul.
Awesome. Hey, Paul. So anyway, we're live on Facebook. I hope that we are live on LinkedIn as well. And just wanted to introduce my guest today. But before I do that, you may or may not know who I am. I am Denny, Subconscious Healer. I work with entrepreneurs specifically, and I help them overcome procrastination, self-doubt, so they can show up more confidently and authentically in their business. And when you do that consistently, then you create the financial freedom that you desire, and you get to impact more people. And now we have Deborah Ivanov. Yeah. Do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself for everyone who's here?
Sure. Hi, I'm Deborah Ivanov. I go by the moniker The Being Coach, because just like you said, Denny, you can do all the right stuff, but if there isn't that inner alignment, healing, clearing the decks, it's going to be a lot harder for sure, if not impossible. So for sure. And I've become known for helping professionals work with what I call the resistance cycle. We'll talk a little bit more about that this morning, but those things that get in your way, the things that need to be cleared, for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Been in the business for 20 plus years, worked with thousands of professionals, been around the block a time or two.
Yeah. So can you tell for the people that are watching live and the people that are going to watch after, how did you get into doing what you do? How did you become the Being Coach? How did that come about?
Yeah. It wasn't by design originally. I was a single mom, little tiny kids going through a very long, intense divorce that I couldn't seem to get myself out of the pit that I dug myself in financially, emotionally, all kinds of ways. And I made a choice. I made a choice that this was not going to be the end, that like Tara, I would never go hungry again. I would never be this messed up again. And I started seeking out my own help, and I got fascinated with coaching. I had some wonderful coaches, and I said, I want to do that for me. So that's what happened. I went and got trained to be a coach so that I could coach me. And along the way, I had some just wonderful mentors. One of them was a man named Daryl Rutherford, who wrote a book called Being the Solution. And Daryl was a take no prisoners, tough talking, tell it like it is kind of guy. And I found him so refreshing. And I really became fascinated with this idea of the change process, of what's really involved in the change process. So that's become a lifelong study of mine, is what makes change work, what gets in the way of change, how can I make change work, what was not working for me in the change process. And I discovered some very interesting things along the way, and I've just kept that going. I've had a lot of clients that I've been able to really see how things show up a little bit differently for each client. And there are some similarities. And that's what I was going to talk about a little bit today.
Yeah. Do you want to share? I'm curious, in your journey, what was the biggest, aha or awareness that you noticed that really took you to overcome whatever it is that the reason why you were seeking coaching yourself, right?
Yes. I'm so glad you asked that, because that really has informed the basis of all my work. And that is that there wasn't something wrong with me. There never was something wrong with me. That change inherently has challenges along the way. And that's built into the system of change. And there's a reason for that. And that was the part I didn't understand. I looked around at all these people who were talking mindset and feel the fear and do it anyway. Just do it. And I was like, I can't seem to make that work. So my biggest aha was, oh, resistance, trouble, challenges, whatever seems like it out there is getting in my way is not a sign that something's wrong. See, I always thought I'm on the wrong path. It should be easy. Follow your bliss. It should be easy. It should feel good. But that's not inherently built into the change process. When we're in the change, it doesn't feel good. At the best, it feels odd. At the worst, it feels like our world is falling apart. And that was the biggest thing I did not understand, that the very thing that I thought told me I was on the wrong track was actually the thing that was telling me I was on the right track. And it blew my world open, blew it open.
That's awesome. And so you realized that you had that aha, and when did you decide that this is something that you wanted to do for others? When was that?
Yeah. So my kids were little, and like I mentioned, I was in a tough divorce, and I made a decision about a year in. I had that idea. What if this doesn't get cleared up this year? What if it doesn't? Am I going to delay my happiness? Am I going to delay the experiences I want with my children? So I made that decision to not delay. And my story is that the drama for me faded into the back, but people were aware of it. And so people started following me out into the parking lot. They started following me out and saying, you're going through this intense situation. How can you be happy? How are you maintaining your focus? How are you're showing up for things here. You're doing things with your kids. How is that working? How do you do that? How do you do that? Now, that was before I understood being and doing. So I started meeting with people, and people started stuffing little $20 into my hands as they left. But something was missing for me. Like, I was telling people what I did. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I was telling them what they should do. Ouch. It's okay. You can cringe. You can cringe. And I didn't really understand what would be the best for people, but something internally said, there's got to be something better to really, truly help people. Mm-hmm. And that's when I decided to get some training. So I knew how to coach myself, so I could stay in my energy and be around people, so I could determine what was best for them, so that they could reveal themselves to me about what was best for them. And I became fascinated with that process. And that's really what drove me into becoming a coach, was this idea that the answer is within each person, that having the support, having someone to facilitate and hold them as their wisdom was revealed, way cooler for me, way cooler than telling anybody what I did or telling them what they should do. Mm-hmm. It was just amazing. It was like being a midwife for people's own, like, revealing. It was just, and to this day, I still have that amount of awe and respect for the process. I really do. It's just an amazing thing.
Yeah. And I really appreciate that you talked about that being, right? And one of the things that really was causing a lot of tribulation and pain, not only inside when I first started my business 5 years ago, was that I was needing another marketing course. Oh, I just need to learn more about this. Oh no, I just need one more thing. And that was preventing me from putting myself out there. And what I realized, and what I help other entrepreneurs do now, is that it starts from within. So it's super aligned with the being coach. And would you talk a little bit about who you work with specifically, and what is your, if you have like a specialty, and what that would be? Yeah.
Sure, I can talk about that. But first, I just want to honor you, Denny, because just what you said, so beautiful. It starts from within. And that goes for those of us who are in business as coaches, right? Our learning never stops. Yes, we pick up new tools. Yes, we learn new ways of connecting with people. But that inner process, that hasn't stopped for you, has it? Not even one bit, has it?
No.
Yeah. That's why I'm here, because I knew we were aligned on that. I knew that.
Yeah.
So let's see. The question you asked me had to do with a specialty, having a specialty. Yes.
Yeah, like who do you work with? What's your specialty? And I know that one of the big things that probably our guests and viewers want to know is that one trick.
That one weird trick.
Yeah, I even want to know. I'm like,
you want to know? Okay.
Yeah, I want to know.
Yes. It's so amazing and so obvious, and it can make such a difference, but it's like hidden in plain sight. It's one of those weird tricks. And like I said in my intro, I don't think successful people know. I don't think they know that they've mastered the trick. So it really is like secret. It's hidden in plain sight. But first, I will tell you. So my specialty is people who know what to do. They know what they should be doing. They're high performers. They're go-getters. They're salespeople on commission. Maybe they're leaders. They're leaders in their community. They know what they should be doing, and they have that. Well, they could have a whole bunch of feelings. They could be feeling discontent. They could be feeling sad or depressed, and they don't understand it because it doesn't jive with what they really do want to go for, what they want to go for. But like I had one client describe it as limbo. She kept getting trapped in limbo, like when you're in a dream and you run and you're not going anywhere and you can't move. But it could also be like everywhere you turn, there's drama and upsets. So my specialty is helping people use that stuff that doesn't feel good and they don't like it. And I'm sure you're going to relate to this too, because you work with procrastination. It's just taking that stuff that people don't like, understanding that that is actually like providing the seed of everything they need to propel them forward. Mm-hmm. And here's what I've noticed is that I do work with a lot of sensitives. So empaths, highly sensitive people, HSPs. And the reason that is because I think it is. It's not like I was tracking that, but it does seem to be good-hearted people, more sensitive than most. You know, they say the HSP community is 27 to 30%, right? I work with those people because the whole like mental toughness model doesn't really work for them. These are people who live in their hearts and in their souls, and you know they have different qualities that they're going for. And I have a very integrated approach. So that is something I've noticed, is that I work with people who are more sensitive and they're looking to cope. A lot of people want life balance, but we talk about how it's more surfing than it is standing still and balancing. So that's who I work with mostly. And the specialty really has to do around this resistance, using the resistance itself to put the wind in our sails. Now, one weird trick. You want to hear one weird trick?
Yeah. But before that, I do want to say this, if I may interrupt you for a second. So it's really interesting and not interesting that you do attract that kind of clients, because when you start showing up like your authentic self and being who you are and confidently show up on, you know, social media or doing networking or whatever, you're going to naturally attract the people that resonate with not only with your message, but it's this unconscious vibe. It's like unconscious energy, and you attract a certain kind of person. And it's not like like you said, it's not like you were like looking for them specifically. It's that type of clientele just seem to resonate with you and your message. And that comes from you showing up as your authentic self. And that's one of the things that I have learned, is that with entrepreneurs, you know, I used to hide and not show up as my authentic self when I first started my business, because I was in fear of like, oh, what are people going to think of me? What are they going to say? So I would present myself in a certain way, but never really show like the real me. Like I would show parts of me. And what I realize is that other entrepreneurs are having, and we're having the same issue, you know, the way that they show up. And when I really started just to show up authentically, that's when I started noticing a pattern of a certain type of person that is attracted to me. And the cool thing about it is that there's enough opportunities, more than enough opportunities for everyone. And you're not really in competition with anyone. Everyone has such a unique, special energy about them and a message that's going to resonate with a specific kind of person. All you need to do is show up consistently, and you'll notice that you'll start attracting that kind of person. So it's pretty cool.
I agree. I really agree. And I think that that's one of the things that has been both a standout for clients that work with me, but it's also been a standout for my own artistry around the industry, is that one of my values is independence and individuality, right? Individuality. And so there are people who are really good at kind of coming up with those one size fits all, and that's great. There's nothing wrong with that. But for the, like you said, just showing up, I've always been about tailoring whatever comes up in a situation for the person. So needless to say, I'm not on one of those platforms where I'm talking to a huge crowd. I really like the one-on-one in the small groups, because then things can be really tailored and people can really share from the heart. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. I think we have that in common with our clients.
I think so too. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I love that. Thank you.
Yeah.
So anyway, go on to your
one
your
weird trick. One weird trick. Yes.
Yeah.
So as I mentioned before in the teaser, this is something I've noticed about the highly successful and the people that want to be highly successful but haven't yet got it. Which, by the way, there's nothing wrong in that. In my book, there's nothing wrong with that. We're all in our own path, just what the world says. Like you were talking about, that's one of the things that really slows us down as entrepreneurs, is you have to do it this way. You have to lead generate this way. You have to cold call this way. No, you don't. No, you don't. Who says? Who says? The weird trick that the highly successful have, that I have never yet found someone who's able to verbalize it accurately. Some people have a sense of it, but in general, the trick that they have is that resistance doesn't stop them. Whether they know it or not, whether they use a method or not, resistance doesn't stop them. Now, those people who say break down to break through, those are people that resistance doesn't stop them, even if it's a giant breakdown. I say, if there's a breakdown, use it, learn from it, go on. But does there have to be a breakdown? I don't think there has to be. Let's go embrace change. Let's hop in there and play on the playground with it. But those people that they'll do anything to get through. Now, most of them think it's willpower or focus or determination, or I've heard discipline. It doesn't matter the vehicle they use. The direction is the same, that they get from where they start to where they want to be, and they don't let anything stop them. Even the doubts, the worries, the upsets, the backslides, the detours, the derailments. That's what makes it different. In fact, some people get so good at this that they actually kind of stir up more of it. Have you noticed how there's some people who are like, they stir up more of it, and they don't consciously know this is what they're doing, but some part of them recognizes, to be successful, I have to fight against something. I have to fight my way through. I've had clients every once in a while who are sort of do or die, like they burn all their bridges and take a big leap, not knowing. On the other hand, I have more clients that want to get in the pool a step at a time. They want to know that next step is there. And that's okay too. It doesn't matter whether you cannonball or whether you go a step at a time. It's that you keep going and you don't stop. Now, the story I told you, Denny, when I was not successful in almost anything, it was one step forward, two steps back, two steps forward, three steps back, over and over and over. I was not continuing on no matter what. In fact, I was doing what my mentor, Daryl Rutherford, used to say. I was digging up the fruit. I was digging up the tomato plants. I would plant them, and when they weren't ripe in the time I thought, or when the hail fell, or when I got myself muddied up, I would think it's all wrong. I'd rip everything up and I'd start over again. That's what the successful don't do. They learn from what's going on, but they keep going on no matter how rocky it gets. Now, that still is a harder way to success in my book. I still think that this process of inquiry, of asking good questions, of looking at what's going on, debriefing ourselves. There's a reason the CIA debriefs themselves, learning from our mistakes and our successes. That's going to help the aim and the momentum go much faster. That's what I find. And that's what I provide as a coach. And I'm sure you do too. The highly successful may probably do not realize that this is what they're doing. That balls to the walls, it doesn't matter. They're just going to make it through no matter what. Whereas the not highly successful are those who are saying, oh no, what did I do wrong? What's wrong with me? Why can't I? And that is that inner critic, monkey mind, ego resistance, whatever word you want to call it, that has us cowed because it doesn't want us to change. So some people head towards and embrace change no matter what, and other people personalize, internalize, shame, blame, make themselves wrong. And to me, that is the biggest difference between the highly successful and the sometimes successful, sometimes not. What do you think about that?
No, I love it. And this reminds me of like this analogy, I guess, like a swing. When we start at first, when we try to like start getting ourselves off the ground, it takes a lot of mostly effort. But then once you're really high, it's a lot easier. You just kind of coast a little bit, and you still maintain. And think about how much more challenging it is to get off the ground. And once you start going, if you are able to overcome that resistance, you won't have to, it doesn't have to be so hard as a start and stop. You can maintain, and you could adapt and adjust as you go while you're in the air, instead of having to stop again because of that inner critic, and then you having to start over again, because that's what it feels like, right? So that's why it feels like, oh my God, I have to climb this mountain again. I was just here and I was halfway up, and then something just happened that propelled you, spiraled all the way down, and then starting back up again. So it's a lot easier for you to ask yourself those, those questions, and also transform those limiting beliefs and that inner critic. And I'm sure that you have a very specific method on how to do that. I have a very specific method on how to do that. So for our last question is, how could someone get in contact with you if they're interested in learning more about you and how you can help them?
Sure. Well, thank you. Thank you, Denny. It's very simple. They can just go to my website, 𝐓𝐫𝐢𝐜𝐤.com, or it's my name, DeborahIvanoff.com. Either one goes to my website. There's a little bit more information there. My blog, there's at the very bottom of the page, you can sign up for my newsletter, The Bridge, or you can schedule a time if you want to do a get to know you. And that's a legitimate 30 minutes if people want to talk to me about what's going on with them and look at some of my programs. They're happy to do that. I just want to leave people with this thought, which is the voice in charge, that ego critic, is what, if you're watching this, is going to want to cancel this out and put you back to sleep. But please, please, please hang on to that. You're not doing something wrong. This is the way the process works. Whether people realize it or not, it happens to every person, every time we step out to change. And it's an indicator that it's working, not that it's not working. I think that's the most powerful thing I can give people to take away today.
I love that. Thank you so much, Deborah, for being here. Super excited to connect with you. And Deborah made it super easy for you to connect with her. Just go to her website or just search for her name. And you could also connect with her here on LinkedIn. And thank you so much, everyone. And I'll talk to you soon.